Our after-lunch session, our first after-lunch session is to do with control foreign companies, CFCs, and Anne Bennett, who's a tax partner at Weber Wenzel, is going to be talking about this. And Anne's background is she's been a partner there since January 2011. Before that, she was at Deloitte's from 94 to 2010, looking at Africa and the African region, and has 25 years of tax experience locally and abroad, advising South African and foreign-based multinational groups on South African international tax implications of structuring investments and trading operations across international borders, including cross-border mergers and acquisitions. So with no further ado, let me hand over to Anne, who's speaking till 2 o'clock. I don't know if you'll be taking any questions, but depending on when you finish.
Thanks for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm very impressed that you guys have made it through to the after-lunch slot. There seem to be quite a few. I think in terms of taking questions, absolutely. Let's see how the time goes, but my plan is to talk probably for about 35 minutes, which should leave about 10 minutes or so for questions. I'm going to be looking at some key issues relating to controlled foreign companies. Obviously, controlled foreign companies is quite a complex area, and there are a lot of things that one could talk about. What I've tried to do within the time constraints is pick up on a few issues that we seem to be confronting quite regularly in practice, where the law may not be entirely clear, or taxpayers are encountering difficulties. So, without further ado, let's take a look firstly in the context of history of CFC legislation in South Africa, for those who may not be that familiar with it. We first got our controlled foreign company rules back in 1997, and in those days we still had a source basis of taxation, so the scope of these rules was pretty limited at that stage, focusing primarily on certain kinds of passive income. Then when South Africa moved to the residence basis of taxation in 2001, the scope of the CFC rules widened out extensively. And that's kind of in line with what you would expect of countries that operate a residence basis of taxation. I've listed on the slide, some other first world tax jurisdictions which have for a long time had residence basis of taxation and fairly sophisticated CFC type rules. Our rules are found in Section 9, capital D, of the Income Tax Act, and they are quite complex and quite sophisticated. I think our rules have been described as some of the most complex to be found anywhere in the world. And if I was a betting person, I would also say that my bet is that this section, Section 9D, is the one section in the Income Tax Act that has been changed the most often since 2001. I've never counted how many changes there have been, but it's a very, very significant number. Generally, what are CFC rules trying to achieve? They are anti-avoidance provisions. And in National Treasury's own words, taken from explanatory memorandum, they're aimed at preventing South African tax residents from shifting income out of the South African tax net into a foreign jurisdiction where the income concerned or the gains concerned will then be taxed at a lower rate than if those income or gains had stayed inside the South African tax net. And as we'll see as we go on to discuss some of the specific issues, how it works is that where a company, a foreign company, qualifies as a CFC, SARS has the ability to impute into the taxable income of the South African tax residents that own that CFC amounts calculated with reference to the income of the CFC itself. A question that's been debated fairly often is, are these rules